Discover the amazing secrets of a hidden civilization that inspires life-changing dreams and hope. Maya could hardly wrap her mind around the news that swept through Oakwood. As a waitress at the diner, the words overhead, "a forgotten civilization," felt fully alive, lion-hearted. She held on to the notion that something incredible lay just around the corner. Every day was a blur of sizzled bacon and fresh coffee. But this was not just another day. For Maya and her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, this artifact could be the spark for dreams they so desperately craved. Amidst the clinking of glasses and the chatter of patrons, Maya wore a smile, serving smiles as warm as the plates of meatloaf she brought to the table. Each tip received was another drop in the bucket of hope. Who needed riches when she had Lily? With hair as vibrant as the sun, Lily was a shining star in Maya's life, her laughter a sweet symphony in their tiny apartment, far removed from lavish homes and white picket fences, where prosperity reigned and dreams came with a hefty price tag. "Mom, when can we go see it?" Lily asked one evening, her blue eyes sparkling with glee. Maya brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, heart swelling with pride. "Soon, sweetheart. Maybe this weekend." But the truth weighed on her. Bills piled high, the rent loomed large, and each passing day felt heavier. Yet here was this artifact, rumored to hold stories that transcended the mundane. It beckoned to the townspeople like the flicker of a candle in the dark, igniting imaginations with hope. Yet, as excitement rippled through Oakwood, Maya felt the sting of judgment in the eyes of others. To some, she was just a waitress, an identity that felt like a shackle. With the arrival of the artifact, the divide between the prosperous and the struggling grew wider. Conversations over coffee turned into whispers of envy and skepticism. Even her estranged father's shadow loomed large, a decorated veteran who once aspired for greater things for his daughter. "Why can't you be like everyone else?" he depressed. As Maya stared at the flyer announcing the big town meeting, she felt a sharp knot in her chest. Would her voice be drowned out by those who looked down from their privileged pedestals? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Maya summoned her courage, heart racing, palms sweaty. As her hands nervously gripped the podium on stage, the artifact gleamed behind her, a symbol of hope, of resilience, of every unmet dream hanging like an unspoken promise in the air. The community filled the hall, and with each glance, apprehension grew. Could she be the voice that resonated with those who shared the struggle? The moment felt monumental. It was time to challenge the stigma of her station, to prove that no one could eclipse her light. She inhaled, ready to show Oakwood that dreams weren't just for the rich. Could she ignite a shift in the hearts of her neighbors? Would her aspiration pull them together with the shimmer of possibility that the artifact represented? The air crackled with anticipation, questions hanging just out of reach, as Maya stood on the brink of a pivotal revelation. Could one humble voice change everything? As she began to speak, the room held its breath, teetering on the brink of transformation. Maya took a deep breath and let her gaze sweep across the gathering. Faces blurred together in her mind, yet the weight of their expectations felt all too real. In that moment, she wasn't just a waitress. She was a representative for every dreamer, every underdog whose hope had dimmed in the face of adversity. "I know many of you see me as just a waitress," she began, her voice steadying. "But I believe this artifact could be more than what we think. It holds stories of a civilization that thrived despite challenges. They're tales that remind us we aren't defined by our circumstances, whatever they may be." Murmurs swept through the crowd, both intrigued and skeptical. A flicker of doubt crossed her mind. What if nobody cared to hear? But she pressed on, feeling the familiar pulse of urgency driving her words. "Imagine what we could learn if we dared to dream. If a forgotten civilization could overcome trials, then so can we. We can create our own narrative right here in Oakwood. Lily beamed up at her from the front row, her tiny fists clenched in excitement. For a brief moment, Maya felt her daughter's support wrap around her like a warm hug. That was all she needed. As Maya spoke, she could see some people in the crowd visibly softening, nodding along, and even leaning forward in their seats. With each word, she coaxed out a sliver of empathy and understanding. And it's not just about the past, she continued, her voice rising with passion. It's about moving forward. This artifact is a symbol, a beacon of possibility. If we allow it to motivate us, we can inspire change in our community and ourselves. The atmosphere thickened with anticipation. She noticed Mr. Hawthorne, the town's banker, crossing his arms. His skepticism was palpable. But a few rows back, Mrs. Finch, the elderly schoolteacher, sat with tears glistening in her eyes. Our struggles may be different, Maya said, addressing the divide openly. But each of us has faced hardship, health issues, financial burdens, family crises. We share a common thread that connects us as a community. A murmur of agreement rippled through the audience. A flicker of recognition passed between strangers. What if we held hands and lifted each other up? Maya challenged. What if that artifact was our springboard to a brighter future? Not only for us but for our children, like my daughter Lily. From the corner of her eye, Maya locked onto Lily's gaze, her daughter wide-eyed and hopeful. She wanted to give her a world filled with possibilities. Yet, as the applause began to simmer, she noticed that not everyone was on board. Mr. Hawthorne's face remained stormy, his expression darkening. It's easy to talk about dreams, he grunted arrogantly. But how do we pay the bills? Are we to believe in fairy tales? Silence fell like a weight. Maya's heart sank. Was she naive? A sudden doubt flickered through her mind. Had she miscalculated? But then, she spotted a few hands rising in support, people wanting to share their thoughts. It sparked something in her. She wasn't alone. Perhaps believing in something bigger is the first step towards change, she said quickly, breaking into a soft smile. And who knows? What if we combined our talents, resources, and dreams? What if we transformed Oakwood together? The tension in the air shifted. Excited whispers erupted within small groups. Faces turned toward one another, uncertainty ebbing away. Somehow, the gap between them seemed narrower than before. As thunderous applause erupted, Maya's heart leapt. But just then, the urgency hit like a thud in her stomach. She felt a twinge of hope intermingled with anxiety. Would this be the moment that changed everything? The gathering simmered with potential, but she knew this was just the beginning, a step towards an unknown journey. With a new spark ignited, she wondered, what would come next? And just as that thought crossed her mind, she noticed something glimmering on the artifact behind her. It flickered and pulsed, leaving her breathless. What secrets could it unveil? What paths lay ahead? Maya's heart raced, uncertainty meeting boundless possibilities. The glow from the artifact intensified, drawing everyone's gaze. For a brief moment it felt as though time stood still. Maya's heart raced as the shimmering light illuminated the expressions of her neighbors, a mix of wonder, excitement, and disbelief. She could practically see the gears turning in their minds as they grappled with the revelation. What is that? Someone whispered, breaking the spell. The crowd shuffled, eyes darting from the artifact to Maya. Her nerves bubbled beneath the surface once more, but the thrill of curiosity surged forward, quelling her fears. I don't know, she admitted, her voice trembling with a new energy that mingled with the flicker of the artifact. But I think it wants to be discovered. It's more than just a relic. It's an invitation for us to explore together. With her words, a ripple of enthusiasm coursed through the audience. Even Mr. Hawthorne's hard gaze softened for a moment. Could there be something more? Maya glanced at her daughter, who was now bouncing on her toes, eyes wide with wonder, as if the possibility of magic lay just beyond their reach. This was the spark she hoped for. What if we come together to investigate this? She proposed, feeling emboldened by their collective intrigue. What if we form a community of explorers and dreamers to uncover what this artifact has to tell us about our history, about our future? Amongst the crowd, a few people began to nod, murmuring to each other. The energy swirled in the air, buoyed by new ideas and revival. Mrs. Finch raised her hand, her voice quivering but warm. "I'd love to help," she said. "I have experience with local history and can organize the research. We all have something to contribute." Maya's heart soared. This was exactly what she envisioned people uniting, stepping away from their negativity, eager to participate in something meaningful. As various individuals began to share their suggestions, Maya could almost hear the echo of distant laughter from a long-lost civilization, resonating and intertwining with the pulse of Oakwood. "Count me in," shouted Jake, the mechanic, his deep voice cutting through the noise. "I've got tools and know how to dig around if we really need to inspect the site." A small cheer erupted, and suddenly, everyone seemed to want to be a part of it. Maya watched as shy smiles emerged, and hands rose to volunteer artists, scholars, parents, and teenagers, all inspired by the notion of digging into something greater than themselves. But amidst the celebration, a gnawing apprehension tugged at Maya's thoughts. What if they discovered something they weren't ready to face? What if the history held lessons too painful to bear? Those unspoken questions lingered heavily, like dark clouds on an otherwise sunny day. Yet, as fervor swept through the crowd, the shadows of doubt slowly lifted. Each commitment, each nod of agreement felt like a solidification of their shared path forward. In this moment, they were more than individuals, they were part of a web of hope, interconnected and strong, woven together by stories that transcended time. "We'll meet again next week," she declared, her voice shaking with excitement and purpose. "We'll explore the artifact, share ideas, and plan what to do next. Let us uncover the stories it holds." As the gathering began to disperse, Maya felt a weight lift off her shoulders. There was still uncertainty, of course, but tonight had sparked something unstoppable. With her heart leaping as she glanced one last time at the artifact, a thought raced through her mind. Was it really just a relic, or could it turn out to be more than they ever dreamed? As she wrapped her arms around Lily, who was still buzzing with enthusiasm, she felt a swell of resolve. It was only the first step, but it was a step towards transformation. And then, glancing at the twinkling artifact, Maya wondered, what had they awakened, and what lay just beneath the surface, waiting for them to find out? The week felt like a spark that had ignited a fire, and as the sun dipped low in the sky on the day of their first meeting, Maya could feel the buzz of excitement thick in the air. She stood at the entrance of the Oakwood Community Center, a place usually buzzing with mundane activities, but today it was transformed. Instead of the usual whispers about town gossip, the chatter was lively, filled with ideas and aspirations. "Look, Mom, everyone's here," Lily exclaimed, her eyes bright with anticipation. Children and adults alike shuffled in, some carrying notebooks while others brought snacks or tools they thought might help in the quest ahead. Maya smiled, her heart swelling. This was what her vision had been missing, a vibrant community, eager to explore their roots. Inside, the room filled quickly, chairs shuffled together, crackling with shared energy. Maya stood in front of the artifact, now carefully placed on a table, the glow still faint but undeniably present. It beckoned to them, casting curious shadows as she time-hopped through memories of her childhood. Days spent exploring hidden nooks and crannies, the thrill of discovery alive within her. "Thank you all for coming," she addressed the crowd, heart pounding. "I can't tell you how inspiring it is to see everyone here, ready to venture into the unknown." Beaming faces greeted her, a sea of eager eyes waiting for her words. She continued, "Let us take a moment to share what we each hope to find. Let us start by going around and hearing everyone's thoughts." It began slowly, with shy voices offering up hopes and dreams. Mrs. Finch spoke of lost stories hidden in the town's past. Jake shared his excitement for the digging techniques he wanted to try. Each voice added layers to their mission, transforming it from a simple exploration to a profound journey of collective discovery. But just as the positive energy surged, the door creaked open. Mr. Hawthorne shuffled in, his expression weighted with skepticism. The crowd hushed as he approached, the aura of doubt hanging heavy. "I've been listening, and I just don't buy it," he said, his voice sharp. "Mysteries can be dangerous. We've got a life here in Oakwood, and digging into the past might open old wounds we aren't ready to handle." An uncomfortable silence rippled through the space. Maya felt her chest tighten. It was as though a dark cloud had rolled in. As she looked around, she saw uncertainty creeping back into the faces that had been lit with enthusiasm moments before. "Mr. Hawthorne," she interjected, finding her voice again, "the past is part of who we are. If we don't look at it, we might miss the lessons it holds for our futures." He raised an eyebrow, clearly not convinced. The tension stretched like a tightrope, and Maya could almost hear their dreams teetering on the brink of doubt. But then Lily reached out, grabbing the edge of the table, eyes locked on Mr. Hawthorne. "Maybe it will help us be brave," she piped up, her innocence a soft armor against negativity. "What if the stories we learn make us stronger? Like heroes in a book?" A ripple of encouragement spread, and Maya could see the spark ignite again. Slowly, Mr. Hawthorne's expression softened, his walls appearing to crack, just a little. "Maybe you have a point. Just promise me you'll be careful." Relieved murmurs filled the room as hope returned. As they jumped back into their plans, discussions swirling around methods of research, Maya caught a fleeting glance at the artifact. It flickered, a wink of something untold, something waiting to unfold. She couldn't shake the feeling that they had just scratched the surface. They were ready to explore, but what else lay hidden beyond the light? What truths waited for them, shrouded in shadows? She pondered the weight of the journey ahead, the challenges they might encounter. By the end of the meeting, excitement pulsed in the air, invigorating and intoxicating. They had made their pledges of collaboration, yet underneath the surface thrummed an undercurrent of uncertainty. As they gathered their things, Maya took one last look at the artifact, heart racing. She felt deep inside her that this wasn't just about uncovering history. It was about connection, about stepping into the unknown together. But what haunted her was the still questioning glimmer in the artifact's glow. What were they truly awakened to? And would they be ready when the time came to face it? The following week unfolded with a blend of eagerness and trepidation. Each member of the community felt the weight of potential. The artifact's glow lingered in their minds, a beckoning that both excited and unnerved them. They each came to the community center, but this time, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation nearly palpable. Maya arrived early, her heart skipping as she set the room. Occasionally, she glanced at the artifact, an unexplainable pull tugging at her. It seemed to hold stories, secrets of those who had walked this land long before them. Lily dashed in, clutching a worn notebook, and Maya couldn't help but smile. Her daughter's enthusiasm was infectious. "Mom, I wrote down all the stories I want us to explore," she declared, her eyes sparkling with dreams. "Let us hear them," Maya replied, her heart swelling with pride. As the meeting progressed, ideas bounced around like children on a playground. Each person shared tales passed down through generations. Some sparkled with excitement. Others dipped into sorrow, revealing wounds still tender. They spoke of ancestors who left their marks on Oakwood, who shaped the very roads they walked on. "It's like peeling back the layers of onion," Jake said, drawing chuckles. "You just never know when you're going to cry." Laughter broke the seriousness of their earlier discussions, but Maya could sense Mr. Hawthorne, still lingering on the outskirts, remained skeptical. She wanted to engage him more, to draw him in, but she held back, keenly aware he hadn't fully embraced the energy of this group. As it turned out, it was Lily who would bridge that gap again. "Mr. Hawthorne," she called, her small voice ringing clear, "you should share your stories too. Maybe they'll help us understand why you're worried." All eyes turned to him, the room silent with anticipation. His brows knitted together as he shifted awkwardly in his seat. "My stories?" he stammered, looking down, his voice low. "I'm no storyteller." "Everyone has a story," Lily insisted, leaning forward with sincerity. "Even the ones that scare us." Maya watched the hesitation layer on Mr. Hawthorne's face, wrestling with something hidden beneath his stoic exterior. As the warmth of the room wrapped around him, she could see the fight within him, the struggle between the urge to retreat and the desire to connect. With a heavy sigh he relented. "All right then. If you must know, my grandmother often spoke of the curse of the past. We sit by the fire, and she tell tales of loss and heartache in this very town." His voice trembled slightly, but he pushed through. "She warned me. Sometimes, the past isn't meant to be reawakened." Maya felt her heart clench. His experience was not just a story but a warning rooted in real pain. The room held their breath, the laughter from moments before hanging like mist in the air. "And that's why we must be cautious," he added, a crooked grin faltering. "Exploration, it isn't all adventure. It can lead to wounds that never heal." A wave of understanding washed over the room. They were not just embarking on an innocent journey. They were diving into emotions, whispers of grief that had long echoed through time. Maya stepped closer. "Mr. Hawthorne, we understand this isn't just about uncovering history for fun. It's about healing, connecting as a community. Maybe we can face those fears together, instead of running from them?" Lily chimed in, "Yeah, like heroes in a story. We can't just skip to the ending, right?" The gentle laughter that followed felt like a balm. The tension eased, souls bound a little tighter through shared struggles. Yet even amidst the laughter, a question lingered in Maya's mind. What secrets were they willing to uncover, and were they strong enough to bear the weight of them? As she glanced back at the artifact, its glow more vibrant now, she felt something shift. It was more than just a relic. It was a key to their past and perhaps their future. But the deeper they ventured, would they find healing or just more buried pain? The journey had begun, but what awaited them at the end? Maya could feel the air thick with anticipation as the laughter faded, replaced by a contemplative silence. She glanced around the room, noticing the way everyone's faces lit with curiosity and a hint of fear. It dawned on her that they were standing at the precipice of something profound, some uncharted territory that could reshape their understanding of the past and themselves. "Maybe we should start with one of the stories," Jake suggested, rubbing his palms together eagerly. "What was it about the curse of the past that your grandmother talked about, Mr. Hawthorne? Did it involve something specific?" The question hung in the air like a gust of wind, carrying with it a sense of dread that made Maya's chest tighten. Mr. Hawthorne's expression firmed as if he was wrestling with the elements of memory, reliving pain he had buried long ago. "It was a tale of a local family," he began slowly, the words falling from his lips like rocks in a stream. "They were prosperous, but pride can blind us. They thought themselves untouchable. When tragedy struck, well, let us just say the town was never quite the same afterward." His voice faltered before he added, "People said they had brought the darkness upon themselves. That's what got my grandmother to warn me. I've always believed that history can repeat itself." Maya sensed the weight of his words. Everyone leaned in, listening intently, caught in the gravity of a shared fate. The artifact pulsed gently, as if in response to Mr. Hawthorne's tale, its light flickering with an urgency that felt almost alive. "I had a neighbor," Maya interrupted gently, her heart pounding as she recalled the old man who lived down the street from her childhood home. "He lost everything in a flood. He used to say that life can start over after loss, even when you think all is lost." Mr. Hawthorne looked at her, a flicker of understanding crossing his face. "Sometimes we need that another perspective, a light in the darkness. But it takes courage to embrace the unknown." Lily beamed at the exchange. "Then we can be brave together, can't we? A team." She flung her arm wide, almost knocking over her notebook. "We could find hope in these stories. It doesn't have to be just about the bad stuff, it can lead to good things too." The warmth in the room rekindled as smiles broke over serious faces. A few around the table nodded, their hearts visibly lifting. Maya felt a surge of hope wash over her, igniting a small fire inside. "Yeah, let us share the stories. They can hurt, but they can heal too. And they connect us," Maya encouraged, recognizing the tenacity in her community. It wasn't just about facing darkness, but also about illuminating the path ahead together. The group rallied, diving into their stories with renewed vigor. Old tales of perseverance emerged, some about the resilience of love, others on the strength blossoming from grief. As they shifted from one story to the next, Maya caught Mr. Hawthorne's gaze across the table. His expression softened, the skepticism loosening its grip, replaced by something that resembled hope. Maya looked at the artifact, its luminous surface catching the shadows in the room. What if each story we hear brings us closer to understanding our own lives? Could that make us stronger? But a nagging feeling tugged at her, a whisper against the backdrop of hopeful chatter. Would they truly have the strength to face the truths they unearthed? Just then, the lights flickered, and the artifact's glow intensified. The room hushed as everyone turned their attention toward it. "Did you see that?" Jake asked, eyes gleaming with fascination and a hint of fear. "What's happening?" In that moment, Maya realized they were on the brink of uncovering not just stories, but perhaps truths hidden deep within their shared history. What awaited them as they delved deeper? Was the artifact merely a relic? Or was it holding back secrets that could reshape their future? The air was thick with excitement, a crackling energy that surged through the group as they turned to the artifact, its light pulsating like a heartbeat. It felt alive, as if it were an entity that responded to the stories being shared. Maya breathed deeply, her mind racing with possibilities. "Maybe it's responding to us," Lily mused, leaning forward as if the very object would whisper its secrets aloud. Jake nodded, his expression one of fierce curiosity. "What if it can show us things? Like visions?" Maya felt a shiver run down her spine. Visions. The very thought stirred both excitement and fear. "We should be careful. What we uncover might be more than we bargained for." Mr. Hawthorne interjected, his tone grave. "We must be mindful. The past can bring wisdom, but it can also bring shadows." Despite his warning, Maya felt a pull toward the artifact, its energy shimmering in the low light. "Everyone, let us keep sharing. Maybe we can unlock whatever it is, but we do it together." The circle tightened, a feeling of unity wrapping around them. One by one, they began to speak. Old Mrs. Thompson shared a heart-wrenching story of love lost to war, her voice trembling with the weight of her memories. A young man recounted tales of displacement from his homeland, a journey that resonated with many. Maya listened, understanding more about her neighbors than she ever had. Their words were filled with raw honesty, and the room felt warmer with each revelation. The artifact seemed to absorb their emotions, its glow brightening, casting dancing shadows on the walls. "Do you feel that?" Maya asked, her heart racing. "It's like we're all connected now." "Yes," Lily replied, her eyes shining. "This isn't just a story anymore. It's a part of us." Just then, a low hum began to resonate from the artifact, a sound unlike anything they'd ever heard before. It vibrated in Maya's chest, sending a jolt of energy coursing through her. "What is happening?" she whispered, half excited, half terrified. "You have to push through the fear," Jake exclaimed, his voice rising above the hum. "If we want to understand, we can't run from it." Maya squared her shoulders. "Together, we can do this." As the sound swelled, the artifact projected a faint image onto the wall, a flickering scene that resembled a gathering, much like their own. She squinted, trying to make sense of the images. There were people in traditional dress, a joyous celebration under a brilliant sky. For a moment, she thought she recognized a face among the crowd, and her heart skipped a beat. "Is that?" she started, but the image flickered, distorting as the hum grew louder, more insistent. The group fell silent, their eyes glued to the shimmering dance upon the wall. They were no longer just spectators. They were witnesses to a history that had been tucked away, an echo of lives lived long before them. Maya could feel the weight of destiny in that moment. What if they need us to remember? She breathed. No, what if they're a part of us? Jake countered, glancing nervously at the growing light. Just then, the artifact pulsed powerfully, the hum reaching a crescendo that vibrated the floor beneath them. Maya's heart raced, torn between anxiety and wonder. It was as if a door to the past was being pried open. But would they be ready for what lay beyond? Hold on, Mr. Hawthorne shouted as the light surged forth, engulfing them as the room was bathed in a blinding brilliance. Maya realized this was a pivotal moment. They were on the brink of an awakening, an unveiling of truths that could alter the fabric of their realities. But what truths would emerge from the light? And would they have the courage to embrace what they found? The energy enveloped them, and then everything went dark, plunging them into uncertainty. What awaited them on the other side of that light? Would they emerge as they were, or would they be transformed forever? Maya's heart pounded in the engulfing darkness. It was like being suspended in time, weightless yet also heavy with anticipation. She felt the others around her, their breaths a chorus of anxiety and excitement. In that pitch-black void, she wondered if this was what the unknown felt like, the thrill of diving into deep waters, not knowing what lurked beneath. Then, just as abruptly as it had vanished, the darkness gave way to a soft, golden light. It illuminated a vast landscape that felt both foreign and familiar. Rolling hills, vibrant green fields, and the distant sound of laughter filled the air. Maya blinked against the brightness, taking in the scene that unfolded before her. "Where are we?" Lily whispered. Her voice barely a breath, as if speaking too loudly could shatter the dreamlike quality of their surroundings. "Feels like another time," Jake replied, eyes wide with awe. Maya stepped forward, her heart racing with curiosity. Each step felt as if it was pulling her deeper into a memory not her own. In the distance stood a gathering of jubilant figures, their laughter echoing as they danced around a circle of flickering torches. Traditional garments flowed like waves in a gentle breeze, colors bright against the backdrop of a twilight sky. "Look," Maya pointed. A woman with dark hair was moving gracefully at the center of the circle. Her face shone with joy, and something about the way she danced pulled at a deep thread within Maya. It was as if she recognized her, like a fleeting echo of a long-lost connection. "This looks like a celebration," Mr. Hawthorne murmured, stepping beside her. "But it feels so intimate, so real, as if we've stumbled into a moment frozen in time." The group crept closer, drawn into the scene. The sounds heightened, mixing laughter with music carried on the wind. Maya could almost feel the warmth of the torches as a flicker of light brushed against her skin. Then, without warning, the joyful celebration paused. The dancers turned their heads, their expressions shifting from bliss to an intense focus, as if they sensed a presence, something deeper, something significant. Maya's heart raced. "Do they know we're here?" she breathed, glancing at the others, who were equally mesmerized. The woman at the center stepped forward, her gaze piercing through the distance. "You have come to witness what was lost," she called out, her voice ringing like a bell. "Remember us. We are the whispers of your past, the threads of your own story." With her words, the scene seemed to shift. Images flashed before their eyes, moments of joy, sorrow, struggle, and triumph. It was a tapestry of life, rich and vivid. Maya felt tears prick at her eyes as she witnessed echoes of her own ancestry rolled into this shared narrative. "Embrace the stories," the woman continued, extending her hand as if to beckon them closer. "Each of you carries fragments of us. Together we heal, together we grow." Maya stared at the outstretched hand, feeling a surge of awareness. She understood now this was more than just a vision. It was a calling, a chance to weave together the past with the present, to transform the shadows into light and fears into courage. But just as she reached out, the images began to twist again, becoming more chaotic, the vibrant colors bleeding together, pulling away from her grasp. "Wait," Jake shouted, extending his own hand to catch the vanishing connection. The golden landscape faded, and laughter turned into echoes, receding into haunting silence. Maya felt her heart lurch. They were losing the connection. "Don't let it go," she cried, desperation creeping into her voice. But what would they choose to hold on to? Would they reclaim their shared history, or would the portal close without them? The fading glow left them trembling in that empty space, once more the specter of the celebration hanging in the air, like a half-remembered dream. What could they do to reunite with those echoes of the past? How could they ensure those lives and their lessons were never forgotten? Maya felt a sudden chill wash over her as the last remnants of the golden light flickered out. The emptiness around them was almost suffocating, a stark contrast to the warmth they had just experienced. She could still hear the soft echoes of laughter in her mind, but the joy had dissipated, replaced by the weight of unanswered questions. What just happened? Lily's voice trembled as she wrapped her arms around herself, as if that could somehow protect her from the loneliness of this place. Did we lose them? Jake asked, panic edging into his tone. He looked at Maya, his eyes reflecting both fear and determination. We have to get back. There has to be a way. Maya shook her head, struggling to piece together her thoughts. I don't know, but we can't give up. They were reaching out to us. We felt it, right? She glanced at the others, desperately seeking their agreement. Mr. Hawthorne stood a little apart from the group, his brow furrowed in thought. Perhaps we need to focus, to remember what we saw. The stories, they were important. They can guide us back. She could feel her heart start to beat with purpose again. The threads of those memories were still vivid in her mind. Those images, they felt so real. If we could just close your eyes, Jake interrupting her train of thought. We need to concentrate. Maybe we can summon it. Maya hesitated, but soon she found herself squeezing her eyes shut. All she could think of were those faces, the woman at the center radiating warmth and familiarity. She pictured the flickering lights, the vibrant colors surrounding them, the love that lingered in the joyous dance. Hold on to that feeling, she whispered, feeling the others around her take a deep breath. Suddenly, an electric pulse surged through her fingertips, and Maya gasped, opening her eyes. The darkness flickered again with a faint glimmer. But it was different this time. It shimmered like a mirage. Look, Lily pointed at the glimmering light, her excitement breaking through the fear. It's coming back. The energy grew stronger, enveloping them as they stepped closer together. Maya could see colors swirling, shapes emerging, and she felt an urgency in her veins, a resonance with the echoes of her ancestry. Embrace the stories. She heard the woman's voice again, ringing in her heart. They are more than tales. They are the essence of who you are. The group tightened their hold on each other, and as if on cue, the landscape began to reform around them. The golden hills rose up effortlessly, and the sounds of laughter filled the air once more. Maya blinked in disbelief, her heart pounding with exhilaration. But this time, the dancers looked different. Though they retained the same joyous essence, their faces seemed blurred, like smudged paintings. Are they fading? Jake exclaimed. Not fading, Mr. Hawthorne clarified, his eyes widening at the realization. We're seeing what they were and what is happening now. They need our energy to remain. Maya felt a pang of dread in her chest. What do we have to do? Remember, the woman's voice rose in urgency, cutting through the growing tension. Your stories empower us. Rekindle the flame. Maya took a deep breath and let the memories flood her mind, a family gathering filled with laughter, the aroma of her grandmother's cooking, the stories shared on the porch during summer nights. Each memory struck like a chord, building a rhythm of hope. Together, they began to share those moments, their voices growing unity in harmony. Every word poured into the air, wrapping around the figures dancing ahead, and their shapes began to sharpen, smiles returning to their faces. But even as the energy surged, a shadow loomed over the celebration, a creeping darkness at the edges of their golden world. What is that? Lily whispered, her voice trembling again. Maya's heart sank as she turned to see a thin veil of uncertainty swallowing the brightness. Was it fear threatening to dim their connection once more? Or was there a deeper truth waiting to be uncovered? Stay strong, Mr. Hawthorne urged. Whatever this is, we face it together. Maya gripped the hands of her friends, summoning every ounce of courage. Somehow, they had to protect this light. But what horrors lurked just beyond the edge of their newfound memories? Would they be able to bat away the darkness before it consumed the light? Maya felt the profound weight of the moment, a sense of urgency gripping her heart as shadows crept closer to the spirited celebration. The figures danced, vibrant yet precarious, the threat hanging like a storm cloud, heavy and charged with uncertainty. "Remember," the woman called to them, her voice echoing with fierce resolve. "Your stories keep our light alive." Maya felt her resolve strengthen. "Together," she shouted, her voice ringing out to rally the group. They needed to sink into their memories, to pull forth their personal narratives, to weave a tapestry of connection against the encroaching darkness. "Think of your loved ones," she urged, her eyes meeting those of Lily, Jake, and Mr. Hawthorne. "Their laughter, their stories, is what gives us strength." Instinctively, they began sharing their histories, words spilling forth like a rushing river fed by countless tributaries. Lily spoke first, her youthful innocence a beacon. "I remember Grandma's stories about the stars. She said they guide us home." Others added their own. Tales of resilience, intertwined destinies, and love that surpassed time. Each shared moment sparked life in the shadowy realm, illuminating the faces of those dancing in the golden light. "Even in sorrow, we found hope," Jake added, his voice steady, emboldened by the warmth of their unity. Maya felt the artifact pulse against her chest, a steady reminder of its power. "We matter. All of us. Our stories matter." The shadows pressed closer, the darkness threatening to smother their connection. But with every word, the light flickered and flared, the joyful dancers drawing nearer, encouraged by the fire of remembrance. Maya felt the energy shift. Fear began melting away, dispelled by the strength and love radiating from them. Suddenly, the figures spun in a dazzling display, enhancing the glow around them as if fueled by the very memories they shared. The shadows hesitated, pushed back by the warmth growing with every beat of laughter, solidarity, and nostalgia. "Together," Maya shouted, rallying her companions down a path toward understanding. "Let us confront what lies ahead. We have the power to shape our story." But as she spoke, a sharp crackle echoed through the air. The shadows solidified, taking on forms, faces twisted in scorn, whispering losses, haunting accusations that echoed in their minds. "Don't look back," Mr. Hawthorne yelled, his eyes blazing through fear. "It's the past trying to bind us with guilt. Don't let it." Maya pushed back against the rising tide of despair. "No, we stand together. Our bravery is our light." Together, they burst forth, refusing to remain entangled in the weight of what haunted them. Maya felt the pull of unity, her voice rising above all others, cutting through the darkness, and it reverberated like a shield against the tumult. "Join us," she called, her heart roaring. "Lessons can heal. We embrace them. We transform our pain into power." At that moment, the dancers erupted into joyous celebration once more. Their vibrant colors merged with the warm light surrounding them. It created a brilliant glow that danced against the encroaching shadows, pushing them back, eroding their oppressive weight. "Keep sharing. Keep believing," Jake shouted, hope echoing through his voice. They did just that. They spun tales of laughter, of joy mingled with sorrow, weaving their shared experiences into a radiant shield of resilience. The shadows flickered, wavering as the past was recognized, not as chains, but as forged steps toward strength. And then, in a rush of brilliance, the darkness receded. The joyous figures erupted in laughter, and a wave of understanding washed over Maya. They weren't just connected to the past, they were woven into a fabric of history that would illuminate the way ahead as the brilliant light engulfed them. Maya felt an overwhelming joy. "We know who we are," she breathed, her heart swelling. "And we carry this into our future." The glowing landscape shimmered, vibrant and alive. "Together we will heal," the woman echoed, stepping forward once more. "And never again shall we forget." In that instant, the world around them faded, and they found themselves back in the community center, the artifact glimmering softly. The darkness had been banished, a testament to their bravery. It would grow with them, a symbol of their unity. As Maya looked around, she saw not just faces of various ages, but a tapestry of connections, stories merging into a beautiful narrative still unfolding. "Thank you for joining me on this journey," she said, tears of joy shimmering in her eyes. "Every one of us matters. We are the legacy of those who came before, and together we will write the next chapter." Happiness suffused the air, a collective breath of hope intertwining with the stories that would forward through generations. Maya realized, in this moment, they had not merely uncovered a relic. They had reignited their spirits, carved out a new destiny, a promise their community would shine brighter, together in stories, echoes, laughter, and love. And now, it was time for the world to see their light. Don't hesitate now. You need to subscribe so you don't miss more amazing transformations just like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this inspiration going. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this beautiful ending. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who truly deserve to see this magic. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.